1 minute.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's perfect, sir.
All
So I
right.
just want my dear participants, we had some technical issues and we are really sorry for the delay. And luckily, our beloved resource person, Mr. Josh Dominic, sir, have joined with us for this webinar. The webinar on sustainability of tourism in the time of COVID-19. Mrs. Josh Dominic is a director and the co-founder of the CGH Earth and the former managing director and the CEO of CGH Earth. As you are aware, he joined his father's business in early in 1978 at Casino Hotels. He was actually basically an working with A.F. Ferguson and Company in Bombay. He took over as a managing director and the CEO, and he could lead the growth of the enterprise into group of hotels, which came to be known as the Casino Group of Hotels. The group itself as CGH Earth in 2004, giving a clear definition of an experiential holiday to its business and also adopting and strongly implementing core values of environment sensitivity, local communication inclusion, and adaptation of the local culture ethos. Mr. Josh Dominic has served as several national and state advisory panels on tourism of the government and industry bodies. He is a founder of president of Kerala Travel Mart and the founder member of Ecotourism Society of India. He is a past president of TIE Kerala chapter and was a president of the Cochin Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Josh Dominic is a past chairman of CII Kerala region, and he is presently a member of WTM Responsible Tourism Advisory Panel, member of National Tourism Advisory Council, Government of India, and member of Kerala State Tourism Advisory Panel. More than that, I would like to just add a simple incident that my senior faculties have shared with me. I believe that Josh Dominic sir is well aware about Chevalier Dr. Edward Adelith. He had shared a little bit about you. In our year of 50th year celebration, that's a golden jubilee year, he was a major supporter of the St. Albert's College Autonomous, and he was a wonderful in wonderfully keen in supporting St. Albert's College during the golden jubilee celebration. And so this year we are celebrating our platinum jubilee. After 25 years, you are going to address the same crowd, the students of St. Albert's College. On behalf of St. Albert's College and Albertian Center for Human Resource Development and Research, I cordially invite Mr. Josh Dominic, sir, to this webinar. Hearty welcome, sir. And to my dear participants of the webinar, please mute your audio. And in case if you have any points to raise, please share that in chat box. Please don't use the audio to respond to his queries, or if you have any queries, please don't ask him directly. Instead, you can ask through the chat, or else in case if 61 have this different questions, and if 61 is going to ask something, then it will be a mess over here. So please use the chat box in case if you have any questions, and the questions will be entertained at the end of the session. And my just participants, the attendance of the webinar will be taken on the note of the chat box and the chat box. Request all the participants to introduce yourself through the chat box, your name and your institution's name. Thank you very much. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me.
Perfectly, sir.
So, anyway, we have a subject which is very relevant in our times, difficult times these are, of sustainability in the time in tourism in the time of the COVID. And let me just say that tourism is uh, as affected by the COVID, it was the first hit, worst hit, and it's going to take the longest time to recover. And that's that just by way of introduction. And we will see the relevance of tourism for Kerala. The subject I would like to cover is the growth and development of tourism in Kerala, its recent history, and then now what the situation is in these times. So as I said, it is first, worst, and longest hit. Now, tourism is something which Kerala has discovered quite late in its growth and history. Tourism is probably will date back to, it came up in the word Hindi. We were considered to be a Bimaru state as far as tourism is concerned, right till the mid 90s. It was in the mid 90s that somehow some movement had started to take place here. And that as a result of many reasons. One of the reasons, I put it in a very cryptic manner, is the reason is Kerala's investment earlier on into human development. We had the highest index in human development, into democracy, in the first elected government of a communist government through the ballot box, through education particularly. We have a long history, pre-independence, during the princely times, thanks to institutions like Albert's, which brought education here, the Christian Pallikudang. All this created an environment for egalitarian development of the state. As a result, one could say it resulted in the left government, and as well as the trade unionism which was happened here. Investors were scared to come. They never came into Kerala. But it was in the mid 90s, one could say local investors did what they could, which is small, in a manner which they knew which is local. So small and indigenous became the pattern of Kerala's growth. And this became global, this became world class, earning for Kerala what is called the UNWTO's Ulysses Award, a very prestigious award so what Kerala showed is that ordinary is extraordinary, and the everyday is magic. Before Kerala's growth and development, in Indian tourism, one would have seen the Golden Triangle, Delhi, Agra, Jaipur, from the 60s, 70s. In the 80s, we had a new development, a foreign enclave called Goa, and it was the mid 90s that Kerala came into the scene. From then, it had a meteoric rise. In 1988, Kerala's share in international arrivals to India was 1.3%. That rose in the year 2017 to 22%, from 25,000 people to 10 lakh people in international tourism, and domestic tourism in much larger numbers. And this growth, meteoric and significant, contributing to being the largest engine of growth for Kerala, the largest creator of jobs. And in fact, in the year 2017, a study had shown that 1 in 3 new jobs came from this sector. Therefore, on par with the farm sector. And this at this stage, but in the last few years, 3-5 years before the COVID, we had gone through a phase of let's say turbulence, somewhat slowing down competition, and various other factors. But it was in October of 2019, in January 2020, the Kerala Tourism announced its performance in 2019, in October 2019, November, December, up to January 2020, we had the best growth in our history. In other words, after the big flood, one, and the flood two, and the Nipah, the spring back in Kerala tourism was extraordinary. It was I just give you this background. It was in this background that COVID came. And when COVID came, it crashed to zero. And that was the background of the reason I say this. Now, having crashed to zero, what happened? So suddenly we are now now what we say we are in two situations. One is now in the time of the flood, we had three situations. One was rescue, rehabilitation, and then rebuild. Now, on a parallel to rescue, we are now in the situation of the disease or the virus spreading. Our task initially has been to arrest the virus and to contain the virus. And I think here, Kerala's performance has been quite extraordinary. And it will receive global recognition both especially by the CMs, the Chief Minister, as well as the lady teacher, health minister. And I think Kerala has shown it was the first state in the country to have received the COVID-19 afflicted persons, and we see that how well it has been managed, and the tracing and tracking, and all of them have now recorded full recovery. As far as the current situation is concerned, say an institution like the Boston Consulting Group have determined that Kerala's growth or tourism's growth recovery is going to take a long time for many reasons. Our dependence has been on international tourism, and as you know, not only is Kerala has had a difficult time, but all our source markets, particularly Europe, and has been hit as hard. So there is a phase now that at one time tourists were very welcome in the state, but when the virus struck, it was attributed to a foreign virus coming in, and the tourists became not only invited, but they were despised. We didn't want to see anyone there. So a complete negative to tourism has been there. And now, of course, from the phase of now we are in the survival phase, and now we're going to the rehabilitation phase. Now, industry of tourism, which we can call it as travel and tourism industry is the sector. Travel and in that, hospitality sector is that sector which will account for most of the capital deployed and most of the jobs that have been created and livelihoods created. And that has got a striking hit. And revenues of all enterprises are reduced to zero. And when it will recover, nobody knows. In the month of March, most established, not all, many establishments managed to pay the salaries of the workforce. In the month of April, it is now looking more and more difficult. We are now, to take an analogy, we are now a group of people caught in the desert, and with one water bottle. So our task now is no longer making profits, but to survive. Survival means the group needs each in the group must have a sip to drink so that they all survive and survive long so that when rescue comes, we are alive. This is the strategy that is now open to the sector for industry in general. Not only tourism, but many others. But tourism in particular, which is our subject, that survival require us. And the most big priorities which has been put to government is first and foremost several things: moratorium on loans, moratorium on interest, other things like taxes paid, suspending payment, suspending the renewal of licenses, lease rents, force majeure to force majeure clause to apply, many other things. In other words, we are in a situation that normalcy, that survival is not possible. No one. So just take the example: the governor of Reserve Bank has announced a moratorium on repayment of loans that will end on 31st of May. So hopefully that all those things will get renewed. But the biggest crisis is there. There's a human crisis. The human crisis is the fact that labor force. It is estimated that about 15 lakh people derive their livelihood and their jobs, income, salaries from this sector. And this has been the sector which has been in the highest employer. 1 in 3 new jobs came from this sector. And it is in this background that the crisis has hit. Now the task now is and the government's first instruction was nobody should be sent away, no one must be, the salaries must continue. But that looks more and more, as we get into the crisis, more and more difficult. So what is being attempted now by the industry, by many industry players, is that at least in many countries, for example, airlines and many other countries, people have been sent away they've been put on what is called furlough. In the UK, it's called furlough. In Singapore, they call it indefinite leave. Many airlines have sent people away on leave without pay. It's just an animated suspension, neither here nor there. Just by the fact that the enterprise does not have money to pay. And what is now being attempted is to pay some kind of subsistence. In this, one must recognize the extraordinary measures that Kerala has taken. Every citizen of the state, whether ration card holder or not, is now getting a ration. This is quite unprecedented, and in many states of the country that has not been possible. Take the case of when the lockdown was announced and we saw those tragic scenes in Delhi when migrant labor had to trudge with children, their families in tow, the aged parents in tow. They were trudging hundreds of kilometers for their survival. On the other hand, in Kerala, that did not happen. People, they were assured by the state, by the district administration, stay where you are, nobody will throw you out, you will get your rations. And now about 35 lakhs, perhaps 40 lakhs, migrant labor. Now in Kerala, they're called guest workers, are assured of their rations. So both migrant workers and local residents, whether you are a BPL card holder, APL card holder, whatever the color of your card, not to worry, quick ad hoc procedures to issue you cards, and rations are now more or less assured to everyone. Now look at the employees. Many of the employees are mobile people, staff who are moving from station to station. Many of them have not been prompt in taking on cards or ration cards. So the task before the industry was putting food on the table, nothing more. A basic requirement of food on the table. No, so though the Ministry of Home Affairs announced that payment of wages must continue, the Labour Department will continue, but everybody says yes, we would like to, but we can do only if we can. So this was it's a trying situation we are now in of survival. Survival of two ways. And the most important component for our survival is the workforce, the human factor. For them, it is there to take care of them has become utmost priority. Following that, the need is to keep the vehicle, that is the enterprise, alive. Now, by moratorium, repayment of loans, interest burdens, lease, electricity, fixed charge, all the host of charges, Even the case, just take an example, I want to show you an example. In 31st of March, all bars in Kerala, hospitality industry, all those bars have to be renewed. And the bar license fee in Kerala, the highest in India is 30 lakhs per annum. It has just become impossible for enterprises to renew the license. So one request that has been made to government is extend the validity of the license. In any case, if you open the bar or not, social distancing and the lockdown will ensure that it is not possible to operate them anymore. So what we now reached is a new normal. All the old is over, and now we hope that measures have been taken to contain the virus, and now we are looking for measures to two tsunamis occurred. One is the virus tsunami, then the economic tsunami. Now, economic tsunami requires support for the enterprise, support for how to get back on your feet. And now the Finance Minister of India has announced certain measures. The RBI governor has announced certain measures. It is also announced that survival packages will be announced by the government both in Kerala and in Delhi. In fact, in a CII we had a digital meeting, a Zoom meeting with the Chief Minister just 3 or 4 days ago, where there were about 12 participants representing 12 sectors, 12 of the most important sectors like farm, plantation and farm, tourism, real estate, and various other sectors. So I was asked to speak for the tourism sector. So my request to government of Kerala was that this wage support for the labor force, that it is not possible for the enterprises whose revenues have dropped to zero, complete zero, and how long should they survive? Now from April, and it is not likely. We expect that even not to have even the smallest stirrings till about post at least the last quarter of this year, that's October to December this year. So to survive that long, it becomes quite impossible. So at least somehow, in like the analogy of that water bottle, take a sip, everyone, make it last longer. So the word subsistence disbursement was thought of. That what does it take with rations? What does it take? So it is not about salary. Many establishments thought first of 50% cut in salary. Even that became not viable. So in this sector, large number of the workforce consists of entry-level people who are lesser paid. So many establishments minimum wages, 10 to 15,000 rupees salary range. For them, if you can't cut 50%. So the idea was that they are all getting rations plus a subsistence payment of about 9,000 rupees per month was what was being thought about, was requested. And we wanted support from the government to make that payment so that we can stretch it from April to September. That was thought of. Now, as we go along, that date becomes further and further. So the first and foremost target is survival, keeping the workforce together. Now, of course, that challenge. In fact, this event of this kind, let us say historically, perhaps in human history, we've never had an occurrence in our recorded modern human history. We've never had a event of this magnitude, of this catastrophic nature. Comparable would be the big wars did not have this much impact. The so-called the Spanish flu, which came from Europe because of returning soldiers of the British Raj, brought the Spanish flu, and among all the countries, the biggest number of casualties of even as large as 5 million was happened in India. So today, as we see, the virus or the COVID-19 has got a certain feature. As we hear many theories emanating from China, many theories about how it needs to be first contained, how the theory about herd immunity. For one, the more containment that takes place, the more damage to the economy. The more the economy is allowed to run free, then the disease or the virus disease spikes. So it's a dilemma situation, and tourism, how can it survive in this kind of situation? So going forward, we now see we have a new normal, and that new normal, sometimes we can say even the worst calamity has its own uses. One of the big uses for one of the big crises that Kerala has been facing, for one, is and I would say an SOS crisis that at one time, in fact, in the 70s and the 80s, Kerala used to claim that our cities were the cleanest in India. Trivandrum city, the capital, had the title of the cleanest state capital in India. From that, we have deteriorated so badly. And we are now rated among the our backward. Take Kochi, for example, where we are all now. It's a mega city, and in this mega city, we have at the most about 1 kilometer of sewerage line. What happens to all the other sewage, septic? What happens to it? It has dropped into the nearby drains, from the drains to canals, from the canals into the backwaters. That's the situation there. On the other hand, up in the hills, for example, our plantations. Madhav Gadgil, in his report, talked about Kerala's cardamom plantations as being the highest productivity in the world per acre. In the same report, Madhav Gadgil writes that it has all the highest dosage of pesticides and chemicals. What happens to all that? All of that is washed down into the backwater. So look at the backwater. On the one hand, you've got our sewage and waste. On the other hand, you've got our chemicals coming in from the plantation. And it's a dangerous concoction. That's one danger. And you know our own record and of waste management. Similarly, there's mobility. All the other issues now become of such great priority. So when, I hope it is when and not if, when normalcy returns, whether it'll take 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 1 year or 2 years, who knows? And that's a big crisis. And whether normalcy can return without vaccine being discovered. So now new norms will come in, new fashions. Now I think now from May 3rd, if at all normal life is in a limited way permitted, the mask will become a standard part of the wear of people. Social distancing will become necessary. So the way tourism itself is opposite of social distance. Tourism requires people to come together, conferences, events, people coming in and interacting with each other is what tourism is all about. So this COVID works completely against that. So we cannot wish it away. It is there. So we don't know how long. We have to now prepare, hope for the best, and prepare for the worst. And this preparation of the worst, I think Kerala's big advantage. Our advantage is that we have been put responsible tourism as part of our strategy. What does responsible tourism mean? It is empowering local. It is about managing our environment. It's about including local communities, and all these factors. That is, clean, green, healthy became part of the process, part of the offering. This will give Kerala a great competitive advantage. In our own establishment, for example, which was originally called Casino Group Hotels, now CGH Earth, we have 18. We have in fact 16 establishments in Kerala and about 4 establishments outside Kerala. On these establishments, actually, we shut every one of them down on the 14th of March. And they are both in holiday as well as Ayurveda and naturopathy. So as we now assess the situation, people now building confidence in a destination, building confidence in a brand, in a building, the way people will travel, the way people will holiday in, it's all will have a sea change. Now earlier it used to be said, you have foreign tourism, you have domestic tourism. Now we are now bringing a new term, even in domestic, we have local tourism. Now even local tourism, you'll have district tourism. Because as you see the COVID as it appears, that movement of people are now first confined to districts, then you're allowed to cross districts, then confined only to the state. And it will take some time before even people from Delhi or Mumbai is allowed to come here. And even if they come, there's a great amount of uncertainty with huge impact and huge effort. The COVID effect of Kerala has come down from among the worst. We have among the best record. Now we wonder what will be happening. Now you all know that such a large number of non-resident Keralites and visitors to Gulf countries are there, waiting to come back. And when they come back, as per the new norms, they will all have to be put into 28 days quarantine. And now it's not small number of people; it is lakhs of people wait and who need to come back. For those of course, the first to come back will be those who are on visit visa. Then later on, people. Now, as you see, you see the petroleum economy is another economy like tourism, which is collapsed completely. So, what will be the situation in the Gulf countries? One has to wait and see. Many job losses will be there, and so Kerala needs to absorb them, needs to create livelihoods for all the returnees. At one time, the Gulf boom was when it was the go-to option for Malayalis. Now there will be a return option. I believe that tourism will have to play a strong role in accommodating and providing livelihoods to the returnees. Tourism, along with what I would call the homestead farm. The homestead farm, I'm differing it from a plantation, is the largest singular underutilized asset in Kerala. Everyone in Kerala has got 5 cents to half an acre, to 10 acres, to 15 acres. So many people I know who have see, in local Malayalam, it is said, if the son is looking after the farm, and the parents ask, well, what is he doing? And then the answer will be, avanonnum cheyyunnilla, because he's looking after the farm. And we have, in fact, we were collecting some in another event study that so many people who are owning the family ownership of 5 acres, 10 acres, 15 acres, even 20, 25 acres. The son, or the daughter, when he got a job in, let's say, in IT, in Infosys, for an entry-level salary of 25,000, would drop this and go there. And that not because of, for many reasons, because of social standing. He's not a farmer, but he's an IT professional. So there's all of these value perceptions have to change. Now the IIT or the business administration qualified people will now have to use their skills in the farm, and I think that is going to be a big reality. Kerala's biggest underutilized asset is the farm, and the homestead farm, I believe, is going to the next Gulf boom. For that there will have to be a completely new look at the way things are, and that linked with tourism, that linked with our high education, with wellness, and will need to the problem is that we have such large numbers to be accommodated. IT is something which is there. We all believing that it will come, and we all saw that in the recent past there have been some difficulties. But this COVID has now thrown open completely new industries. In fact, for this a meeting like this would have been could not have been thought about in the past. It would have been a physical meeting. Now, so often, every day we are now having meeting on digital means with government, with industry, every day in a manner which. So we've now discovered that technology and online has become a thing. Everybody goes to market online. Deliveries are made online. So that opens up a completely new opportunity. Now, in tourism, travel is now no longer necessary for purpose of meeting. Digital will overtake that. Travel will become a need of a need to explore new destinations, to have new experiences, and of course, just take a conference. It will no longer be necessary to attend the conference to hear the speaker. The reason to attend the conference is to meet other fellow conference attendees, to make friends, to build relationships, to get connected. So the whole system changes, because the moment to hear the speaker, a process like this is enough. You can digitize it and broadcast the world over. So the way we look at things, travel and tourism, and for Kerala, the importance of tourism is that it provides Sakha. It is easy business to enter. It has close connectivity with farm. It has close connectivity with our big growth, other growth centers, growth industries of health and Ayurveda, for example. And somehow, when you say, for example, when you say the word Ayurveda, the place that comes to mind in an audience, let us say in Delhi, that they say is Kerala. And when they say responsible tourism and clean, some brands will come into mind. So these have become the important factors which will now drive travel. And necessity of travel is becomes in this is now so important. I'm just coming back to local travel, local and Kerala. We will now have to. Today we market Kerala to Bombay, to Gujarat, to Bengal. Now we'll have to. The Cochin people have to travel to, let us say, Jew Town or to Hill Palace, to go to travel not extensively but intensively. So that's an entirely new factor of how that the fact that the COVID is there and restricts us from taking the COVID to a faraway place and also preventing it from coming from a faraway place to us. So how will we limit that? And at the same time, travel and holiday is very much part of our requisite of human life. But it is not. We will find that we can find a universe in our own village, in our own city, and if we travel intensively, that I don't know how many of you have gone to and gone in detail in these places. Tripunithra, for example. I'm talking about only Cochin. Tripunithra, or the Hill Palace Museum, or the wonderful streets of Mattancherry. The history of that place. Each of those places are fascinating, and I see people come from all over the world. Events like Kochi Musa Binali, I don't know what will happen to that, but it shows that art, which is very thriving here, and as we see, intensity of culture will now become to be exposed. Our art scene, our theatre scene, our music scene, all of it will become so important, and even culinary becomes so important to experience, to depthfully research, and to experience that. Of course, as you go out, traveling within the state, from Cochin, travel to other locations, Varkala, or you will go to Tricur for all our history and culture there. So new values will be found, and these will become. Earlier, we would have said, when you're traveling on holiday, you say you want to go to Rajasthan or you want to go to Goa. Now you're going to Tricur for a holiday, or Vagaman for a holiday, or new perceptions will come in, and of course, mobility uh, and social distancing are big factors. So we will see more and more people traveling on two-wheelers and four-wheelers by themselves. And of course, hopefully, we our north-south railway system is now assumes great priority of for creating mobility. So this is the, I just trying to open, I'm trying to open out what does the COVID do to tourism in Kerala? What has it done to tourism all over the world? And how are we going to overcome it? How are we have to survive. And there's no doubt about it. And how do we address it? We have to find our own means, how we can find holiday in and how, what is the even the definition of holiday will need to change. It's not necessary that it becomes more, now more and more it will be what I would call the immersive experiential travel will be the need of the future as we will see it. And see, there was just I want to narrate an old. There was some years back. I attended a workshop conducted by one Dr. Peter Adderholt. He was professor of tourism in the University of Denmark, and he had just retired. And he had set up what he called the Adderholt Institute of Tourism Studies. This in the 80s, and he got an assignment from EU, the European Union, for and what drove people, what about a destination that drove people there. And he invented, and then he had a large population size of 5,000 he interviewed, and the interviewed population he put in two baskets. One basket he called the Sun Sand Surf basket, and the other basket he called the Alert Independent Traveler basket. Who is the Alert Independent Traveler? He's the one for whom it's a voyage of discovery, a sense of adventure, wonder, seeing the unexpected, or the excitement of the unknown. The other, the SSS, Sun Sand Surf Traveler, he was the one, he has to be sure what he's going to get. For example, he was concerned, SSS means Sun Sand Surf. He was, from that European context, 27 degrees Celsius water, great beach sands, and the best hotel, the finest view, the best food, the best service, and did not matter, and everything else did not matter. This is all that was concerned. He was not concerned about how people lived, or their culture, their destiny, or whether it's democracy or human rights. But opposite to him is the other person, the alert independent traveler, for whom he was most concerned about the impact of his own travel, how do people live, what are the nature, what are the issues they confront. So two different characters. And Kerala's and India's growth has been, and the fact is that the AIT is more accommodative, is more sympathetic to a destination's local problems, whereas the other is more demanding. In destinations like India, Kerala, our own brand, Fiji, we all, and Adderall also discovered that 90% of travelers in 88, when he did the study,
Dear participants, Jose Dominic sir had called me. He says that he had lost the network and he's trying to uh, restart the webinar.
வைரஸ் ரோகம் அல்லது கோவிட்-19 பரவாது தடையுவான் நாம் வீடுகளுக்குள்ளே செல்ல കഴിയേണ്ടത്.
Okay. All right. No. He's on mute. And he's on mute. I'm talking. Turn present now. Hello? Can you hear?
Yes, perfectly audible. Could you please adjust the cam?
Okay.
Adjust the cam a little bit down. Yeah, I mean, a little bit up, sir. Up. Yeah,
Okay.
not that much. I'm
All
sorry.
right.
No, not that much, sir. Yeah, perfect. That's enough. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. So this is where we reached. Yeah.
So you
So
were sharing
how much
about
time do we have?
so another 15 minutes. 15 to 20. It's okay.
Okay.
Right,
I
sir.
was sharing what?
You were sharing about the
Well,
definition of holiday will change the immense experiential traveler. I mean, that will be the point.
Correct. So, for example, when you say the word holiday, uh, it conjures up certain images. The image that it conjures up is that you have to behave in a certain manner. That I mean, as that you have to be that you have to wear a Bermuda, you have to smoke a cigar, you have to have excess. But that definition also will now change. That holidays can be learning, can be educative, can be adventure. So, so it can be transformative. So intensity versus extensity will be the big change for holiday. It's already been happening. Now COVID will make it happen even more greater. That long haul travel, long haul I would mean somebody traveling for big distances, would mean that he'll take longer holidays and more intensive holidays. It was becoming a practice that people take many short holidays. That will now go away. So because the whole process of traveling will become that much more painful. Your now in addition to your visa to India, your visa you'll have a COVID visa. You will need to have even in districts. So just as you have searches for a person for carrying of goods or weapons, now they have to examine you for your temperature. By the way, I hope soon there will be a test whether you are COVID positive or negative. So many things will now come into play. So after 9/11, travel became so many restrictions on travel came in place. We had reported earlier, you have to submit yourself to so much of search. Now after COVID, an entirely new range of restrictions will now apply. So travel is not going to be ever more as convenient and as easy as before, especially when it's long haul. So therefore, when people travel long haul, they'll have to be for definitive reasons and for periods which is there. And the tendency for people to find holiday locations closer home will be a new factor in travel, and accompanied with, I'm sure, it is said that the most difficult destination is a destination called self. So that's a place in which you will interact, engage with natural surroundings on subjects which are most difficult for you to handle. So these will become purpose of travel. So what I'm trying, travel is a great releaser of energizer. It's a place in which it throws open minds. So while recognizing those facts, at the same time, we now have to recognize the new reality. So that's how travel will change. Kerala is well positioned, I think, for dealing with the new travel. We are far away from the big markets. We're far away from international markets, but at the same time, we have been well oriented. Kerala is not one. Kerala as a whole is a big destination. The variety of offerings. Probably we can still say Kerala is the safest part of India, is among the cleaner parts of India, is among the most hospitable parts of India, and learning literacy highest than anywhere else in India. Sanitary or cleanliness levels much more than ever anywhere else, and in other cities, maybe big cities, maybe have achieved these kind of things. But we are right across the state. We have a situation in which Kerala can gain or not get as badly affected. So for our survival now, some of these basics have to be now understood better. We have to be the cleanest, the greenest, and the safest, healthiest in India. So these become new charters. So it is, it's not going to be easy out there. It's going to take long time. It'll take, for people, for students like you who are studying here, what does the future entail? What is livelihood and job markets going to be? What are the new learnings to be? Some big gainers have been, I think digital analytics have been big gainers. Even let's say, if you look at business travel is not going to be as badly affected as holiday travel. Holiday travel will have to be more intense and experience oriented. Now, in the food, you will see that people are now food marketers, what is called delivery kitchens. Sitting and dining is not going to be so common anymore. But these are all things which are quickly changing. We don't know in any manner how things are going to turn out to be. We are not at the we don't know. We know we are in the middle, in the beginning, but we don't know whether we are in the middle or the end of it, or how long it's going to last. All the uncertainties prevail. And for the class of 2020 graduating, or people who are entering life today, it's going to be, I don't say difficult, it's going to be, new challenges are there, definitely. And from challenges come new opportunities. And even the worst calamity, they say, is a big opportunity for. So let's take the example of survival of the fittest. Who survived? It was not the big and the mighty which survived. As Darwin said, survival was with the nimble and the most adaptable. And that's a lesson that young people like you must take, to be nimble and adaptable. And the big dinosaurs went to extinction, but not the little creatures. So survival of the fittest. To be fit, you have to be smart, you have to be nimble, and you have to be adaptive. So these are big lessons that is now being learned, and at the same time, sense of optimism, sense of able to comprehend what the situation is, and then keep everything behind you, under you, not be overtaken by what is happening. I know for business it's going to be a big challenge, for government it's going to be a big challenge, and I sometimes think that our problems of the old are no longer our problems. And so I would say that if at all, our prayer will be, please take away this problem and give us back all our old problems. All our old problems look so trivial now. Whatever it might be, it might have been the problem that we face in Kerala. What was that? Hartal or Attimari or whatever it is. They look trivial now. Or India, CAA, or 370 or Kashmir, all look trivial problems as compared to the big COVID problem. Hello, can you hear?
It's audible, sir. It's audible perfectly.
Right. So if there are questions, I can keep some time for that if there are people like to.
Yeah, yes, sir. Wonderful. Dear participants, it's discussion time. In case if you have any questions, please ask through the chat box, and our Jose Dominic sir will reply to the points or to the questions.
I'm not able to see the chat box. Let me see. But can you see the chat box?
So one of the question I would like to ask is about the business travel and general travel tourism. Will the COVID also affect the business travel too, and how we could survive. I mean, how the business could survive. As you very clearly said that it's just being in a desert
Yeah.
and
See, business travel, let me say, can you hear?
yes, sir, perfectly.
Yeah. Business travel, as I said before, there's something called MICE, MICE, meetings, incentives, conferences, and probably business travel. People traveling for work, business, to go to Trivandrum to meet the government, to go and meet a customer, to go and meet a supplier, to go and meet, to attend a board meeting, will decline not only because of COVID, because now we found out that technology works nearly as well. For example, to attend a conference, to hear the big speaker is no longer necessary. To go to a government office, hopefully they will all have to switch to providing digital access to meetings. So in that sense, business travel might decline, but tendency is that in the short run, business travel will be the only business which will be the main travel in the short term. Long term, they might decline. But for large conventions and people will travel not to hear the speaker, but to meet other travelers, because that is really the reason why the convention was accepted, to see places. Travel will be there. The business travel will be at the short term the least affected, but slowly in the long term it will get affected. And holiday travel or experiential, immersive holiday travel, I think will slowly catch up and overtake every other travel. Of course, there is wellness travel. Wellness travel, lot of wellness, digital wellness, or can you hear?
Yes, sir, perfectly.
So wellness travel will be there. Two things. Now more and more people are now learning to do yoga from a screen, learning to cook from a screen. At the same time, there will be times at which you will require to go for. I believe that wellness will be a travel sector which will grow slowly and with more intensity. So that's what I have to say
So,
about business travel. Yes.
so we have a lot of questions asked by the participants. I will read one by one.
Okay.
The first question by one Mr. Lee. He's an assistant professor. Government has planned to quarantine or isolate people, those who come back from foreign countries. Will it seriously affect the business later? That is the questions raised by the Lee.
Yeah. See, if you are coming to be quarantined, then the only person who will come is somebody whose home it is here. Somebody who's got to Dubai, who's going to visit work visa, on a visit visa, want to come back, he has to come back home. But no business traveler will come back because he has to spend 14 days in quarantine. Impossible. No holiday traveler will come if he has to go to quarantine. And quarantine does not mean that you're confined to a hotel. You're confined to a room. In quarantine, you have to be put to risk local habitants, put to risk your staff. So quarantine is only a state of like a solitary confinement, so that if at all you got a disease, that comes out. So with quarantine, there's no tourism possible at all. That's zero.
So another question by Mr. Lee itself is, can you share light on houseboat business?
Houseboat business is a great highlight of Kerala. It's an experience of the backwaters. It's an experience of local culture. It's an experience of local craft, the boat structure. So all this is going to be post-COVID. And though if you hear the news that the houseboat industry has offered is almost 2,000 boats for quarantining, returning, especially people returning from the Gulf region to quarantine them. Large number of accommodations. They will not be, those boats will not be traveling. They'll be anchored on one side. But the houseboat as a traveling experience will remain as highlight. No, because this is an immersive experience holiday. And as and when, either by herd immunity or by clearance that you have not got COVID, some system will emerge. And houseboat business is something which I think is on good footing. Secondly, they're small in size. So houseboats are sometimes individually owned, 2 or 3 people employed. Somehow or the other, it does not have the diseconomy of scale, which means supporting large workforces and all the issues that they confront. They have become like homestays, little and manageable. So houseboat is a sector, I think, which will be less impacted and more survivable.
Sir, I am combining 2 questions. One of the question, the question is, I mean, 80% of the viewers of this webinar is students, and they are very much concerned about their job prospects. So could you please share about the job prospects of the tourism? And on the other side, as they are the students and they require a humble opportunity to get hands-on training or an experiential practical knowledge like internship, but they will lack as of now. So what is the solution for these two, the job prospects as well as the practical learning during their studies?
As I said, we don't know where we stand now. Are we at the beginning, are at the middle, or at the end? So as it stands now, industry or enterprise are only concerned of sending people away or taking them, asking them to go on unpaid holiday. So we are not looking at this now, whether this will end on May 3rd or it will go on further. So in tourism industry, I think we can expect the situation to remain like this till the end of the year. So for students, this is a time for 2 things. One, of course, even if jobs might, realistically speaking, it might be more difficult. Normally, I can know in the hotel industry, every year we have campus recruitment from hotel schools, people come in. I can't see that happening now. Right, as of now, we are all working on, at the moment at 0. And even if we start, it'll have to be at lower capacities. So students now seize the opportunity that this offers. How can they create original, adapt to the situation? Don't look at the world as looked at by the seniors. You have to look at the world as fresh. What does this COVID, what opportunities does this offer for you to start your own your skills in online, your skills in different areas, or in, for example, medical practice is telemedicine. I don't know about tele or advisorial. Now, as far as jobs are concerned, there will be in the tourism industry, students will have as working in tour operators, as guides, as hotels, from kitchens to housekeeping to marketing, and so on. So generally speaking, I think to be honest, this could be the most challenging time for anyone to enter the job industry. At the same time, they should not be discouraged by it. It's only in these times of great disruption that big opportunities also be found. The opportunities are there for you to discover. In fact, for a person like me, who's accustomed to before the COVID, to predict what are the new things that will happen after, who knows? Who knew that digital conferencing is going to be something as common. It only took 2 weeks. Online marketing, online delivery of food, telemedicine, new areas opening up completely. So keep your eyes open, keep your minds open for these new areas. The old world is dead, the new world is open. So you have to find the new opportunities in the new world.
So there are a couple of questions more. The first question, it is with regard to the digital tourism. With the evolution of the digital tourism, won't it affect the allied industries such as cottage industries, and how could we tackle this?
I don't know what you mean by digital tourism. Digital could be, say, for marketing and for promotion, digital is a great opportunity. Digital is a great opportunity to learn. But digital, from what is tourism after all? People travel to experience new cultures, new places is what is travel. So to promote travel, digital is important. To record travel, digital is important. To learn travel, digital is a great learning. But tourism itself is people moving physically and culturally. So it is not, tourism does not take place by watching a movie, by hearing on your earphone. You can learn about it, you can prepare yourself, but the actual experience is physically being there. So digital tourism, I don't think exists, but digital learning will exist. Digital marketing will exist, or digital archiving will exist. But actual practice of tourism will happen only when you're physically able to go, experience, and feel the color, feel the texture, and that's what tourism is all about.
So the next question is, Kerala has known worldwide due to our cure rate of COVID affected people. So will it be an advantage to our medical tourism industry? That was a question by one Mr. Adarsh Case. Further adding to that question, at least not now, but in a later stage after 2 years, the Kerala will be treated as a safe zone, and will the industry, the travel and tourism industry, will bloom after that, especially in Kerala?
That question, let me answer it. When you say after 2 years, we don't know what is going to be the situation after 2 days. So after 2 years is like 2 centuries away. So we think, we hope, we wish away. So I'll just now refer to McKinsey scenario planning. And they talked about 3 scenarios. Scenario 1, wishful, that COVID will come, COVID will some immunity will develop, and will all go away a few months later. Secondly, it'll drag on 1 or 2 more years. And thirdly, it will, for example, when you take the bubonic plague, which was in medieval times, its impact lasted, of course, those are times in which there was no learning, there's no knowledge, no research, no science, literally, medieval time. But before it showed its face and it got extinct, it took 200 years for the plague to go. Today, of course, this should not last that long. They are predicting that 18 months we'll have a vaccine. That is good, hopeful. So 2 years, if there's a vaccine, then there will be a boom. Now just take the example of the floods. We had the 2018 big flood, 2019 smaller flood. We had the Nipah. But what happened? There was a big spring back. Kerala's October 18 to December 2019 and January 2020 was the best in our history. We've never had such a big spring back. So, but that was related to floods. But as far as COVID is concerned, as long as the threat hangs, it will be a big blocker. But the moment the threat goes away, I think the growth will be explosive, unimaginably explosive. So, and we have with that, we have now learned the world I know will never be the same again. We have completely realized that there are other ways to look at it. Kerala's strength of having been a champion of having moved quickly, moved effectively in arresting and containing the COVID is remarkable. I think Kerala is compared with great respect among nations in the world. That will stand us in great strength that here is a reliable destination. They know what they're doing, and wellness tourism or medical tourism is something which people will need to have great confidence in a destination. All that has happened in Kerala is a big confidence builder. Whatever they do, they will do it carefully, and we can be the cleanest, the greenest, and the healthiest and the safest destination. Our reputation will show that. That will give us in good stead. But remember that we are in such an uncertain times. 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. Worlds can change. Maybe by next week we'll hear about a grand. In fact, I'm now hearing about new test methods which are immediate, which can test the entire population, as Korea has done. Or we can hear that there is this new medicine which is going to address this, and the world is expecting, almost predicting that 1.5 years from now there'll be a vaccine, and then things will change. But even if it does not, we have to learn to survive, hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst.
Oh, thank you, sir. I believe that Akshay, you got the same answer. I believe that the question was the same. And we have with us our Vice Principal, Father Varghese John Christopher. He had raised a question to you, sir. When local tourism gets more importance, how will the huge investment done by the business entities be able to gain returns?
Yes, I think when you look at local tourism, when I say business entities, here I'm coming back to Charles Darwin's theory of survival of the fittest. The most fittest to survive is not necessarily the mighty and the big. Large business entities which have built large hotels, hundreds of rooms, which have built convention centers, all of that will have to adapt themselves to new offerings. Who are the locals? Where will they travel to? Let us say the current law is that you cannot move out of your district. And now Ernakulam Cochin is a red zone. You cannot even move out. Okay, let's assume that we are past this period, and that initially people will now, the acceptability of travelers, even let's say after post May 3rd, and let us say travel is now more loosened up, there'll be great suspicion of people from different lands coming here. There's a tendency to keep yourself away. Similarly, let's say you are going around with a mask. So local is more confident of the other local. Local is, therefore, it will not be just extensive local, but it will be intensive local. You will become a student of history, student of the Jews of Newtown, student of Kerala architecture, student of enjoying the history of the fishing nets or Chinavala, or going to the Hill Palace Museum, or even to our own history of Christianity, the churches. All of them have new meaning. Culinary, all these. See, as would be said, you can find the universe in a grain of sand. So that definition, you need not travel to far distances, but you can even find experience. So you become more immersive. But the precise question that Father asked was that, what about big investments? Yes, the big investors will need to have more skills in adapting themselves. The price ranges might change. The offerings will differ, and habits of people will have to influence and change. So it is something, it's so new. The history of travel, in the history of civilization, we have not had such an impactful event. And I believe that when the going gets tough, there will be answers will come out. And take the example. I'm just taking an example take the example that in 3 years ago, in the year 2012, the Kochi Muziris Biennale was conceived, and in 3 editions it became one of the finest in the world. Though it is in local Cochin, it was located in old buildings. It still became. So what was needed for success was some other things: innovation, spontaneity. It required disruptive. So therefore, when travel becomes local as a current necessity, whether local in the state, local in the district, local in the country, all of that, attitudes will change. Our expectation of travel will also have to change. So investments, yes, government will have to come in aid and give some kind of relief as moratoriums for investment. We cannot have big business failures, because at the current moment, we can expect the moment the May 31st moratorium is lifted, and if all the banks have to be prepaid their loans, every establishment in the state will collapse. That too is not possible. So there have to be some solution to be found. The smaller ones will survive more easily, but the bigger ones will have huge problems, because largely they have a big payroll to pay and high interest to be paid and repayments to be made. How will they make it in the new environment is anyone's guess.
So I believe that the participants that have asked the entire questions. Is there anyone else to point out something? Almost all the participants are thanking you, sir, for your wonderful presentation and knowledgeable words. On behalf of the Albertian Center for Human Resource Development and Research and the St. Albert's College Autonomous, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude. And the session was wonderful, insightful, well, sensible, wise, learned activity, I believe. And a renowned person like you is the best breakfast or the lunch or food for the knowledge. I believe that the students and the staff members have enjoyed and learned a lot from your session. And in the webinar series, we have around 22 webinars that happens in this lockdown period. I believe that this will be treated as one of the learned webinar, or one of the renowned webinar that we had hosted. And I'm really happy that I could host such a wonderful, renowned person for this webinar. On behalf of the St. Albert's College, I extend our sincere gratitude and heartfelt thanks to our beloved Josh Dominic, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful session and sharing of your experience.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to at least share. I regret that we had some technical faults at the beginning, and getting used to being more. I think we have to get more efficient. I must become. One thing I know I must learn is to handle digital, gain more knowledge there. But to tell the students again, I think there is it might look, the future looks very bleak, it might look, but as much as it looks bleak, I think there are hidden opportunities which are there. So from it could not necessarily be catastrophic. It could be great. It could be a great opportunity of doing things afresh, looking things afresh, and new ways, disruptive and innovative new ways to address it. All the best to you, the student. Thank you, Reverend Father Albert, and thank you, the moderator, for your invite. And wish you well. Keep safe.
Thank you very much, sir. And to my dear participants, especially from various colleges in the state, we have nearly 8 colleges participating from different districts in Kerala state. To all the staff members, especially the co-host of the Department of Tourism of St. Albert's College, I extend our sincere gratitude on behalf of the Albertian Center for Human Resource Development and Research. I extend our sincere gratitude to all the staff members who participated in the webinar, and to my dear students of St. Albert's as well as of various colleges. As our renowned speaker, he shared, your future may see bleak, but explore the hidden and innovative opportunities. So best wishes for your future, and thank you for participating the webinar. Summing up, please ensure that you have introduced you in the chat box, your name followed by your institution name. That will be treated as the attendance record for the distribution of the e-certificates. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.